Welcome back into the CHGO Bears Podcast. It is back to work Wednesday for the CHGO Bears at Halas Hall. It is the start of the NBA season. Blackhawks played last night. A lot of things going on here at CHGO. We got it all covered for you. Look at you guys. You guys are ready for the Bulls season.
We all are. Look, got the Bulls, CHGO Bulls. I think Hoge's got a little, show some nips there.
Way to go, Hoge. Way to go. That's
right.
We did not plan that. I decided to keep my hoodie on because I'm like, oh, I wore the same shirt as Carm. But it turns out we all wore the same shirt.
Listen, I mean, I'm wearing the shirt for, let's be clear, for Peck, for Big Dave, for the GOAT.
Yeah.
And for MJ, 84 to 98. That's why I got it on today. But, hey, I'm fired up for Buzelis, too. Let's go, Buzelis.
Let's tank for Cooper Flag, baby.
No, let's go, Buzelis. By the way, shout out Irv, first in the chat today. Bear down. Irv, you are a winner.
There's nothing more Chicago than calling for a tank on day one of the season. I mean, it worked for the Bears.
It worked for the Bears.
Well, we'll see how that goes for the Bulls this year. But and
what's happening?
I guess not very well, according to Tony. I don't know. Tony made a noise when I said good luck to the Bulls.
Hey, listen, I'm bull optimistic. Who are they playing tonight? The Pelicans. They're like an 11-point underdog. Let's go Bulls. Can I watch that game here?
You can watch that game. You could fly down to New Orleans, watch that game, and then go to a Taylor Swift concert.
Carm's going to be in the studio a lot watching games if Will Purdue's going to be hanging out.
That's
I know
true.
That.
The Purdue edition is that's a hell of a job by Jake Flanagan and company. Love Will Purdue.
Speaking of that, today is the anniversary of Will Purdue sitting behind me at Game 2 of the World Series.
Interesting.
And Scott Podsednik hitting a walk-off home run.
That's really kind of
the luckiest home run in baseball history.
It's amazing to even consider that.
What does that even mean?
It was lucky.
How is it lucky?
What do you mean? What does it mean? It means how it sounds. It was lucky.
How is a home run?
He ran
lucky?
into the pitch. It was lucky. I told him that at Wrigley once.
That's nice. I love Scott. I love Scott Podsednik, and I love the concept that someday, in the distant future, it seems like that we will play October baseball in this town again. But why don't we get into what's going on, Hoge? Big day.
Well, first of all,
yes.
to the what I was going to say was that the shirt that we are all wearing today, you can buy at store.allcitynetwork.com. And also you can get it for free if you take advantage of what right now is an amazing opportunity for you.
That's right.
To become a CHGO diehard. It is a new introductory offer that we are putting in this week, ready to go for you because we're building the biggest and best community of CHGO sports fans. We proved that in London a couple weeks ago. We're going to prove it again in Arizona next week, and we want you to be a part of it. And that is why we are giving you a special offer with our lowest rate ever. Become a CHGO diehard today for just $4 a month.
$4, one cup of coffee.
It is billed annually, but that's right. It comes out to $4 a month. $48 a year gets you a free shirt, maybe this one that we're wearing, or you can go to store.allcitynetwork.com and check out all the awesome merch that we have there. Free t-shirt. You get access to our exclusive written content, which includes my Bears Things newsletter coming out on Friday mornings throughout the season.
Best grades in the history of grades, Carm's grades.
Plenty of discounts, access to our CHGO Discord lounge, where last night I told a couple Bears fans who were arguing to go to bed.
Nice job, Hoge.
It
Who was arguing?
I don't know. It was midnight for some reason. I was actually in the Blackhawks Discord after going to the Hawks game, and I switched over to the Bears, and two of our awesome diehards were arguing over something, and I just said, go to bed, guys. And everybody had a good laugh, and then everybody went to bed.
There's a big battle in the Discord today on the Bears Discord about Halloween candy. And I look forward to talking about that on our a little bit later after we talk to Brian Baldinger and Nicholas Moreano, who's out at Halas Hall, and the Flus. And
that Discord lounge is where we hang out. We talk Chicago sports. You get told to go to bed sometimes. We tuck you in. This is a limited time offer. Act now. Go to allchgo.com/intro to sign up. Today also had a brand new episode of the 85 with Cole Kmet that debuted last night at 7 o'clock. You can check that out as soon as this show's over. I recommend checking it out. We had TJ Edwards on yesterday. It was a lot of fun. All right, news and notes from Halas Hall today.
Yes.
You guys ready for this? Mm-hmm. We heard from the Flus a little while ago. We heard from Caleb Williams. We heard from DJ Moore.
I took copious notes, but go ahead. I want to hear your notes
and
first.
Nicholas Moreano is in the locker room. A new look locker room situation. I'm interested to hear about that with Nicholas Moreano later on in the show. We got Baldy coming up in a little bit as well. Biggest news, headline on the show today, Jaquan Brisker and Kyler Gordon not practicing today. It is looking, it's still relatively early in the week, but I would say, not surprise any of us if we don't see either of these guys play this week against the Commanders.
I always love the Bears going long term. Look, if Kyler Gordon's not ready to play this week, as much as I would love to have Kyler Gordon on the field and the Bears will miss him, you should not play Kyler Gordon this week. I don't let him get back to as close to 100%, so he won't re-injure it, a la Mike Evans, Tampa Bay. And the Brisker thing's a little trickier because I'm sure he's fighting to get back on the field, but multiple concussions, and he's got to get back on the field at practice, show that he's, looks the part, can function like Jaquan Brisker does when he's doing his work, and then get tested again and get cleared. But if it takes a while for him to come back, I completely get it. That's a scary situation.
Well, I think overall for me, the biggest takeaway was that he described Kyler Gordon as day-to-day. When you hear, Dan Quinn talk about Jayden Daniels, they said week to week, right, a couple days ago. And so if we're going to take them at their word, you're going to take Matt Eberflus at his word, I am encouraged by the fact that Kyler Gordon, who is a huge piece of this defense, if he's listing him as day-to-day, that means that the hamstring injury may not be as serious as, it could have been, or as I might have feared, when we left London. Obviously, Jaquan Brisker being day-to-day, that kind of goes without saying through when you're going through a concussion protocol, as he has been for the last couple weeks. But Kyler Gordon, day-to-day, I'll take that because it could have been much worse when you consider how hamstring injuries can go.
Yeah, that just makes me nervous. I hope he doesn't push himself back on the field before he's ready to be on the field. But I will trust Kyler Gordon to be a smart guy. I'll trust the Bears to be smart people, despite occasionally some evidence to the contrary.
Yeah, I at this point in the season, I don't know that you need to force it with either of these guys. Certainly, Jaquan Brisker's situation is concerning, not only for this week, but especially long term. And when it comes to Kyler Gordon, I think the way this is shaping up and the way you saw the guys fill in for them in London, Kyler Gordon, of course, went down in the middle of that game. Brisker was already out, but the Bears have depth here. Use your depth sometimes. Exactly. You're going to need your depth to get through a season.
Exactly.
And we don't need any Mike Evans situations going on here with hamstrings on Sunday.
Yeah, but at the same time, Kyler Gordon and what he means, not just to the pass defense, but the run defense is key. He is one of Matt Eberflus's weapons as he sends him, on a blitz and has him at the line of scrimmage and has him doing some different things there. And you're going up against a Washington Commanders team that can really run the football in a lot of different ways. Obviously, depending on who the quarterback is, certainly plays a big part in that. But, Kyler Gordon is a difference maker for this defense. I think they can survive if Jaquan Brisker can't play, but I think the impact that Kyler Gordon has on the defense week to week, he didn't play the whole game in London. I thought he had the biggest play on maybe in the entire game, and certainly on defense with that third and 4 tackle right before the first half, which set up the next score, the second score for the Bears to make it 14-3.
Are you making an argument the Bears can't win this game without Kyler Gordon?
It makes it a lot dicier. It makes it a lot makes me a lot more concerned.
What about the Josh Blackwell pick last week? You didn't like that? No, granted, they threw it right to him, but he caught it.
I got all the respect for Jalen Jones and Josh Blackwell and Elijah Hicks and the depth they have, but I also understand the impact that Kyler Gordon is having week to week, so to not have him out there would be a huge blow.
I think we're in a situation where this really speaks to the way Braggs lives his life, and which is an all-in, stay up till 4, grind it out, get up 2 hours later, play hard the next day, have 2 torn ACLs, still go golfing because you're just going to live the day.
Still set up the tailgate.
Right, exactly. I think that's what we're dealing with here, which is why you're like, get out there, Gordon, because we have to have it now. Whereas you're like you're the type of guy that eats all the Halloween candy on night 1. Whereas I'm gonna put the Reese's Peanut Butter Cup in the back burner and have it 4 days later, and that's what I want the Bears to do with Kyler Gordon. Make him your Reese's Peanut Butter Cup.
You are a peanut butter cup,
Stevie. Can you take a look at Nick's Twitter feed, by the way? Because speaking of Kyler Gordon, he had some work done apparently during the bye week.
Work done.
Hair?
Yeah, I'll take a look.
No, just whenever you get it ready, we'll throw it up there on the screen. The good news is that Tyreek Stevenson is expected to practice today.
That was good.
That's a big one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like they'll be. It's looking like they'll actually have a lot of reinforcements coming back here. Also, Terrell Smith. Remember they were without him too. So now those are both outside corners, but there's some good things happening there in the secondary, despite the headliners maybe being out again this week. Zach Pickens, depth coming back there on the D line. He's practicing today, and then 2 players had their 21-day practice window reopened. Travis Homer and Larry Borum will be back in practice today. They're both on IR.
Nick had a one-on-one with Zach Pickens, which I'm not sure we're getting to today. Maybe I'll go up on our YouTube page where we can get to it tomorrow. But he's excited to be back and knows that there's a lot of competition in front of him. Yeah. Ain't going to be easy for Zach Pickens to get on the field. That he's got a pretty steep hill to climb at this point.
I also thought it was interesting. Flus was asked today about playing defense against this quarterback situation with the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota. It didn't look like that much of a difference on Sunday because they just kept rolling over a very, very, very bad Carolina Panthers team. And Flus said that he thought the offense is similar with both of these guys.
Yep.
I mean, Jayden Daniels more electric at this stage in his career, but both can move around enough. And there is something to be said for, obviously, Jayden Daniels playing very, very well right now. But sometimes having a veteran, even a veteran who's not as good as the starting rookie, does give you some type of a boost. Can be smarter with the football at times. You're probably going to be able to run the offense just fine. So I think Marcus Mariota. I mean, look, I'm not trying to say that you'd rather play Jayden Daniels over Marcus Mariota. Not at all. But if you're the Bears, I mean. But I don't necessarily think that this is all of a sudden you go, oh, Mariota's playing, so this is a slam dunk win for the Bears.
Well, it's interesting to me if you watch Baldy's breakdown of the run game that Cliff Kingsbury is instituting with Jayden Daniels and obviously Brian Robinson and the attack there and all these different looks. If Jayden Daniels does play, they are going to be careful with the way they use him on these RPOs. And so I think whether it's Mariota or Jayden Daniels, I think the way they attack the Bears defense is going to look different than it has all season for Washington. So I find that interesting and borderline encouraging because their run attack has been deadly so far. But if you watch, when Jayden Daniels got hurt against Panthers, he started to protect himself going down on some of their runs where he was keeping it. So, I think in that regard, that's going to be a big boost to help this Bears defense try to get across the finish line and get a win here.
Well, and Flus, underlined that things they've been working on right now is the run game on both sides of the ball. He was asked like, hey, what do you focus on this bye week? Well, the run game, both sides. So perhaps that will look a whole lot better.
As they should be. I mean, if you look at the way Chuba Hubbard was shut down by Washington last week. The Bears didn't shut down Chuba Hubbard, right? I mean, he got like 100 yards on them.
All right, well, we are going to also give you everything you need to know from a Caleb Williams press conference coming up next. But first, ComEd can help businesses save money by becoming more energy efficient.
I didn't know ComEd did that.
Yep, the energy efficiency program can help find up to 35% in energy savings.
Wow. So what should a business do?
You're just going to go sign up for a free facility assessment at comed.com/biz. That's BIZ.
So why aren't more businesses doing it?
I guess maybe they forgot the website, Carm.
Well, then
That's what happens with old age. You forget.
ComEd.com/biz.
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 That should do it.
Terms and conditions apply. Offers are subject to change. Actual savings will vary by customers' energy usage and rate. The ComEd Energy Efficiency Program is funded in compliance with state law.
That's right.
I work with
You work with great
people who know what they're doing.
That's right. Well, hey, warmer, sunnier days are in the past. It's starting to get to fall season here in Chicago, which is a very underrated time here in Chicago, I might add. Everybody always talks about summertime shy, but
Summertime shy. Dude, this fall has been unbelievable.
Fall time shy is right there, neck and neck with summertime shy. So fuel up with Factor meal kits with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. Meet your wellness goals in time for summer or fall, thanks to the menu of chef-crafted meals with options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. Make today the day you kickstart a new healthy routine. What are you waiting for, Carm? With 35 different meals and more than 60 add-ons to choose from every week, you'll always have new flavors to explore. Crush your wellness goals with this month with dietitian approved meals and ingredients that you can trust. So head to factormeals.com/CHGO Bears and use code CHGO to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code CHGO at factormeals.com/CHGO to get 50% off your first box, 20% off your next month while your subscriptions are active.
Good job there, Brexy.
Got you.
Jayden Daniels, by the way, did not practicing today. No surprise there. Next update that Dan Quinn said he would give will be Friday. So we're just going to have to wait with bated breath.
He ain't playing.
Then. Oh, Carm's calling it now.
I'm calling it now.
Okay.
That's right. I called it yesterday, actually.
It's definitely interesting, right? I mean, it's just going to be shocking if he doesn't play. I guess it's trending that way. That's what Ian Rappaport then again doubled down yesterday. He said very much in doubt. And today it says, he says it's trending that Marcus Mariota will start. So, Ian Rappaport's always as dialed in as anybody. And so seeing those reports certainly has my ears up. Definitely had some different beat reporters here putting stuff out as well.
Yeah, Dan Quinn saying today that the practice field is the next step of that. We want to make sure he can fully express himself and do all the things that he does on the field. Be him, fully turned up. Could you imagine Flus ever saying turnt?
He could do it.
I could see it.
He's right on the cusp of a turnt. Flus could turnt.
But that's the point I was just making earlier. Like, if they decide to play Jayden Daniels, he's not, depending on the severity, if he's not practicing today, that tells me, obviously there is a severity to the injury that's going to have him limited on Sunday. So is that the deciding factor? Because he can't run the ball, that takes a significant part of his attack out. And so that would be the main reason why you wouldn't play him.
Well, let's talk about the quarterback we know who's playing and is going back home to the D.C. area, Caleb Williams. And on the other sideline will be Cliff Kingsbury, who the Bears interviewed for the OC job and was a senior analyst with USC. last year. One of my favorite lines, I want to say Courtney Cronin was asking these questions, but one of my favorite things that happened in the press conference today was, Caleb, what exactly did Cliff Kingsbury do at USC? Like, what exactly was that role? And Caleb went on to say, I know there's a bunch of rules in college. There were certain things he couldn't do, certain things he could do, but talking about football, talking about experiences he's had as a head coach, offensive coordinator, things like that at the pro level is what I got from him. So many times talking about it, asking questions so he could give me great feedback on this next level that I knew that I was probably heading to at that time. That was big for me, being able to listen to him, obviously build a relationship with him, knowing the quarterbacks he's been around and similarities in some of the offenses that I've been in or offense I was in college. It was great to have those moments with them. I think it's helped me for these moments now. And then Courtney followed up and was like, so his role was more about preparing you for the NFL? And he said, yes, to help prepare me for the NFL.
There you go.
So Cliff Kingsbury was at USC last year. And his main job, I mean, obviously he was helping the offense prepare and things like that. But in terms of Caleb, help him prepare for the NFL. And then again, it's just interesting. The Bears interviewed this guy to be the OC. And Caleb talked a little bit about that too, that they were exchanging some text messages during that time period. Caleb tried to say that he didn't know he was going to be a Bear yet.
Which is when he was lying. He said that Cliff Kingsbury is a player's coach, that he texts with him still, that he'll send him notes like, hey, way to get that win. Nice job with Jayden. Way to go. Sweet. And then Cliff Kingsbury will give it back to him. These two are, seems like they're at least work friends, if not real friends. They're keeping up their relationship to some level. And then, when the whole interviewing thing was going on, they asked him, well, I didn't think much of it. I wasn't sure if, I was going to be a Bear. You knew you were going to be a Bear, and I think you thought a lot of it. But that would be interesting if somebody can get into Caleb's phone and find out what texts were going on.
I mean, that doesn't really matter at this point.
Do you think that Cliff Kingsbury was too big of a personality for Matt Eberflus?
Good question.
Do you think it was, like looking in between him and Shane Waldron, like, okay, which one of these guys won't take my job?
This guy was a former head coach. It might be slightly threatened. I hope that he didn't think that way.
I don't know. It's just I don't think there's any reason to make a big deal out of it because Shane Waldron seems to be working right now. We've heard the stories about Cliff Kingsbury. He's doing a great job. And everyone seem to fall off.
And maybe the more football realistic answer is that his run game philosophy didn't necessarily line up with what the Bears wanted to continue to do, where they rolled over this outside zone philosophy with keeping Chris Morgan, elevating him to run game coordinator, and maybe Cliff Kingsbury when you're seeing the different looks and the different counters and all the things they're doing at the line of scrimmage with Jayden Daniels, maybe that didn't necessarily line up with the way they wanted to run the football in Chicago.
The other thing I liked hearing from Caleb today is, just talking about things that are working, why they're working, and he called it the flow.
A lot of flow today.
Which was the opposite of what was going on with Carm's hair in our pre-show meeting. It's flowing now.
I found my flow.
It looked like you got electrocuted.
You looked like a peacock on meth.
I have
that photo is also available on Twitter if you want to bring it up, Steven. That one's on my account.
Tweeted that photo?
Why wouldn't I?
He did.
Why would I not tweet that photo?
That was a private meeting with private people doing private things.
What?
No, it's totally fine.
Public now.
Glad that you tweeted my
internet's forever.
I think
I said that you were ready for another big Bear show.
I think that look that you tweeted we'll have at some point here might be better than my current flow, but it's a different flow. It's a static flow.
I would have actually enjoyed if you did the entire show looking like you got electrocuted.
Mm-hmm.
Braggs has like it if you actually got electrocuted.
Yeah, no, he's really going in lately. It's been the attacks are getting more consistent and more aggressive,
more life-threatening.
Yes. In all seriousness, though, the flow
Yes, back to Caleb and his flow.
The flow is a real thing on offense, and I think it speaks to just the word chemistry and being in control. Play calls that make sense, quarterbacks being comfortable with the play calls, understanding what he's looking at, plays on plays, tempo, Bragg's getting his no-huddle situations. All these things are leading to which is not a thing the Bears offense usually have. Usually the Bears offense would look more like this. Like that's what I think of when I think of what Bears offense is usually, how they usually flow.
Right. That's the Bears play calling the first 15 plays of the game this season. And then the Carm you see currently in front of you now is
the rest of the game.
Is the rest of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, you don't want to come out of the gates firing. You want to ease into it. That's,
lower expectations.
That pregame meeting is my foreplay. And then I come in here and now I'm ready. Thank you very much.
There's no way that works.
You'd be surprised there, Hoger. Don't knock what I do. Okay. Let me just give my one comment on the flow of real flowness. I just think that he was getting super frustrated with like, hey, let's get this moving. Give me the play. Give me a decent play. Let's realize what we can do. Let's realize what plays work. Let's get together. And let's do this in a logical, talented, you know what you're doing, offensive coordinator and quarterback way. And now I think Caleb is starting to feel a little bit more comfortable with his OC. I bet you his texts over to Cliff Kingsbury are a little bit less these days.
Eric Bochan.
I saw Bochan with the hair on Blue Chew.
On Blue Chew. Yeah, that's a good line. It's a good line. No, no, you can just see it with the offense really starting to take the next step, regardless of who they're playing. The flow is a great word for it because it has rhythm and timing attached to the way they're moving the football and spreading it out too. Flow. On all three levels of the field and also, all the different targets they have at their disposal. So it's an encouraging sight. Now the competition starts to go up a little bit, and now we can hope that flow matriculates into some of the
the flow.
He flowed into a matriculate out of nowhere.
He
started flowing, and he found a matriculate.
Good old Hank Stram, born and raised in Gary, Indiana, the region.
Are you claiming Gary too?
Well, Gary is the region. I'm from the region.
Where does the region cut off?
Don't worry about it. We spread far and wide.
Hank Stram used the word matriculate?
Yeah, matriculate down the field.
Yeah, you know that.
No, he doesn't know that. He's an idiot.
He covered that game.
That's true.
Okay. I forgot about that from Hank, and don't old football me over there, young
Carman,
brags.
I want you to know that when my wife and I left the Blackhawks game last night, we put on the CHGO Bears podcast, and so I could play her your Blue Chew read from yesterday. And she thought it was the funniest thing ever.
I mean, one of our great sponsors. We appreciate them.
She was losing her mind. It was a great read.
The other thing I think I'll say too is when you talk about flow and tempo,
the opposite of what this segment.
The flow and tempo that you're now seeing with the Bears, and what's working for Jayden Daniels with Cliff Kingsbury, because Matt Eberflus was asked about going up against Jayden Daniels and the Washington offense, and he compared it to when he was a coach in his college days, going up against college offenses. Yeah. And so tempo,
that was interesting.
Right. Tempo helps young quarterbacks, and tempo is something you see more in the college level. And so it was almost like Eberflus calling it a college offense. But at the end of the day, it's about doing what's going to make your quarterback comfortable. And then I think the other thing that you look at with Washington that the Bears have started to implement here over the last 4 or 5 weeks is getting under center. I believe Washington has the most snaps under center of any offense in football. And the Bears weren't doing enough of it the first couple weeks. And the more they started to do it, the more success they found in the run and pass game.
I'm I'm ready for the bye week to be over. I know it technically
is over.
It is over, but like I'm ready for a football game to be played Sunday. I feel like we've been talking about this game for 6 weeks.
We've lacked flow.
And today was just Wednesday.
We need more flow.
Yeah. Well, you know what also we need? We need to hit our break zone. Break zone. Let's talk about our friends at Sunnyside. What is Sunnyside? You know this by now. Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, purchase a wide array of high-quality products. Sunnyside has everything you need this fall, your one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs. Sunnyside has an expertly curated menu with over 100 strains to choose from. You got easy online ordering and in-store pickup. They are Illinois' favorite dispensary with locations all over the city, Wrigleyville, River North, to the suburbs, Champaign, all the way up to South Beloit, and more. And right now available, good news, new limited time offer, Island Vibes, available in disposable vapes, 510 carts, gummies. Got the good news, Island Vibes for next level staycations. Visit sunnyside.shop for bright buys every day, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Enter promo code HICHGO at checkout to qualify. Exclusions apply. Sunnyside Cannabis Dispensary. Bright buys every day, only for 21 plus or Illinois medical card holders.
Business people, listen up. Digital marketers especially. We got one of our new partners here, Constant Contact. Let's talk about goals for 1 minute here. How are you tracking, Braggs, the ones you set for your business earlier this year? Are you close? If not, do you know why you haven't hit them? Can you believe, by the way, that we're almost in quarter Q4 here? I mean, the year is coming quick here. That means it is crunch time for those business goals you set all the way back in January. If you think you can, then you can. That's what they believe at Constant Contact. That's what I believe, by the way. Year-end goals, Constant Contact has what it takes to help you meet them faster. And no matter how experienced you are with digital marketing, Constant Contact has the tools to make your marketing run smoother. Time to put the go in your 2024 business goals with email, social, SMS, customized marketing campaigns built for you in just a few clicks. Ready, set, get it done. Go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity and start your free trial today. Go to ConstantContact.com/AllCity for your free trial. Free!
All right. Let us jump in to a segment with a man who's here every week doing a great job all over the internet, all over America.
In my car on Sunday, listening to the Chiefs game, I just the dulcet tones. Oh, it was so good.
And going to be in D.C. this weekend for Bears and Commanders. Brian Baldinger joins us now.
Yes, I'm going to be there in D.C. I can't wait. I hope Jayden Daniels can play, but I kind of have my doubts about it right now, just the way he looked on Sunday.
Yeah, we feel the same way. It just seems like the early vibes, the early words sort of leaking out is that it doesn't look great for Jayden Daniels this week. Baldy, you had some great breakdowns breaking down this Commanders team, offense and defense, but just in your mind, knowing Marcus Mariota, who would play if Jayden Daniels can't, like what would be different? And how much would it really hurt the Commanders not to have this kid who's been just unbelievable so far this season?
Well, I would say before I watched Marcus play last week that there would be a tremendous drop-off. But honestly, it's the best game I've ever seen Marcus Mariota ever play, ever. Like going back to Oregon. I mean, he hit every receiver he was supposed to hit. Terry McLaurin, Zach Ertz in the end zone. I mean, he ran it. He doesn't run like Jayden Daniels runs, but he still runs well enough. He doesn't have the quickness to elude, quick pressure the way Jayden does anymore. But he was really good. And now I don't know if he can sustain that because he hadn't played like that in years. But that was a good performance by Marcus Mariota. I just watching that game last week. I think Jayden Daniels got hurt in the first play of the game. I mean, he ran 46 yards on a read option down the moving sidewalk, and then when he got hit, he just didn't get up right, and then he was kind of grabbing that rib area, for the next 8 or 9 plays, whatever it was. So he didn't look good, and I don't know if those things heal in 1 week or not. I don't think so.
Well, and if you're Washington and I watched your Baldy breakdown where you're showing like he went down early on a run, right after that he's holding it on a throw,
and then they kept running the ball, right?
Right. So So I guess then my question is, like, if you're going to try to play him, depending on the severity of the bruise or whatever on his ribs, then you really can't institute half of the run plays that have made you so successful here these first 5 weeks, 6 weeks, right?
Well, I mean, Cliff Kingsbury is pretty adroit now. Like they ran the ball 8 straight times to start the game from 8 different formations and 8 different runs. I mean, unbalanced right, unbalanced left, full backfield, pistol formation. I mean, they went after they went after the opponent as much as you can. Carolina they're not a great defense by any stretch, but they went right down the field. So they'll have a game plan for Marcus and what he could do. He doesn't have the arm. He can't throw it down the field like Jayden Daniels can, but he can still throw it. And he was like, in fact, I remember going out there for, it was a mini camp, and I called Dan Quinn up to see if I could go watch. And the media he allowed me to come. So I went down there, and honestly, this was in June. Marcus Mariota in June was taking the number 1 reps on that team back then. So he got a lot of reps this past spring. So I think they'll cater the offense to whatever strengths he has. But I would expect the run game. They've got Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler, this Jeremy McNichols. I mean, Mariota. They'll find different ways to run it with those 4 guys if Mariota's a quarterback.
Baldy, the Bears' run defense is getting better, but they've given up a bunch of big plays. I don't know who you think has the edge in this matchup when you look at up front, but like how big of a concern if the Bears lose this game? Do you think it'll be because they didn't stop the run?
Well, you're talking about Tony Pollard's 26-yard touchdown run, or Jonathan Taylor's 29-yard touchdown run, or Chuba Hubbard going 38 yards. They've been a problem, and they've given up. I went and looked at it earlier today. They've given up 20 runs of 10 yards or more. 10 yards of run is considered an explosive run, and that's in 6 games. So it has to be a concern. And, Washington is still, even with as well as Jayden Daniels is playing, they're a run-first team. And, the little-known secret about Cliff Kingsbury, the offense coordinator, is he likes to spread you out with this whole air raid look, but he really wants to run the ball. And that's what he did at Texas Tech. That's what he did at Texas A&M. That's what he did in large part at Arizona. And that's what he's doing now. So, if I'm Chicago, as much as McLaurin or Diami Brown or Zach Ertz, you got to pay attention to them. Like, you've got to stop their run first. There's no question about it.
Well, I don't know if this is more of like a hypothetical, but obviously somewhat of a storyline here in Chicago is how the Bears interviewed Cliff Kingsbury for the OC job, the connection he had with Caleb Williams. And Caleb just said this morning in his press conference, like, essentially Cliff Kingsbury's job there was to get him ready for the NFL. So, I mean, there was a world in which you could have continued that in Chicago, but we're also living in a world where right now it's working with Shane Waldron. He's making progress. His offense is getting better every week. How do you think this offense would look if in an alternate universe, Caleb was with Cliff Kingsbury in Chicago right now?
It would look different. It would be like Washington has been just wide open all year. Obviously Chicago started off, pretty, it was pretty sketchy at first. But I would say this. I mean, Cliff's had a much better offensive line from the beginning. Tyler Biadasz was a big-time signing in free agency. He was a quality center in Dallas. He's the leader up front. And they have largely been healthy for all their games. So they rotate their left tackle, Sean Coleman, a rookie, and Cornelius Lucas. But otherwise, the other 4 guys, I think, have played every snap. So they just have a lot more continuity to work with. They brought in Allegretti, from Kansas City, and Biadasz, and they drafted Sean Coleman. So, I just think they've had a lot more continuity up front to kind of get their offense jump-started a little quicker. How it would look different? I think it would be more creative than what we have seen. Although we have seen more creativity in the last 2 weeks. Cliff is just going to give you a lot of looks, a lot of stuff with motions. Even last week, unbalanced line right, unbalanced line left, running away from the unbalance, running to it. He just gives you a lot to look at, probably a lot more than what Shane does.
Are you seeing the Bears improve up front, Baldy? Flus was asked about that briefly today, that, any changes on the O-line? No, we're sticking right there. Matt Pryor seems like he's settling in at right guard.
I'm happy for Matt. He's worked at it. He's kind of been bouncing here. I remember talking to him over at Lane Johnson's barn 2 years ago, and he was a free agent. Like, he had nothing. He was out of the – and he cut him. He was on the street, and I said, look, I'll make a few calls. I wasn't pretending to be his agent, but he came back with two teams, San Francisco and Chicago. And I said, go to San Francisco. Nothing against the Bears. I said, go to San Francisco and just watch how they work and how they practice and how important practice is. Just get a year. And he didn't really play at all last year. And then San Francisco let him go, and he had a chance to go back to Chicago, and it's worked for him. I think he's their biggest lineman. He's incredibly big. Size matters. He's playing pretty good. Like, he's got weaknesses to his game. He's not a finished product, but he's played increasingly better these last 3 weeks. And I think him and Wright on the right side are starting to look pretty good. So I think he's been a stabilizing force right now. It might all fall apart for him, Matt. Matt's had issues, not just from a consistency standpoint. He's a great kid, but he's had consistency issues. But he's been well coached by Jeff Stoutland in Philadelphia. He's like, you can't coach that size. He was well coached at TCU. Maybe this is his time. Maybe this is his place right now.
Baldy, that's super interesting, because that's now two players that we know of that went to San Francisco for a year. The other I'm thinking of is Sam Darnold, who I was very fascinated to see how he comes out this year after sort of getting that internship with Kyle Shanahan last year, if you want to call it something like that. But two guys that didn't play a lot that clearly benefited from it. You were in San Francisco, or Santa Clara technically, on Sunday. They're going through their own struggles right now too. But like, what do you think is like the biggest thing that guys are getting when they go spend a year with Kyle Shanahan?
Well, what you get is you get a real, just a really well-constructed franchise. They do everything the right way. And you get stability, all right, from the owner. I saw Jed York the other day, from the owner to John Lynch, the GM, the support staff. Like, they do everything the right way. A lot of these guys haven't been in those type of places before. Chicago's trying to get that. They haven't had it in forever. So they're trying to get that. So a player goes to San Francisco, and there's a way that you do things. There's a way that you practice. Kyle practices guys hard. He doesn't go light on anybody. Maybe Trent Williams might get a veteran day, but like, you go out there and you practice hard. Preparation's important. Meetings, being in the right place. Like, you realize, like, there's almost a militaristic feel to how you get things done and how you improve, and the value placed on practice and benefiting from good practices for every position. And some of these guys, if you've been in with the Jets or Carolina, some of these places that say Sam Darnold's been, like, it's all you see is change. And so you don't really ever get that feel that this is a model franchise. I think guys that go there, they benefit from being around that atmosphere in everything. Pre-game warm-up, watching them warm up in pregame. They do everything the right way. Now they're struggling, so it's like, it doesn't always work. And I think they'll come out of this thing. Like, the injuries have really caught up to them and whatnot. But they give you a real good chance, if you've been bouncing around as a player, to kind of say, oh, this is the way it's supposed to be done.
Baldy, watching Cole Kmet, obviously we're a little biased here because he's a teammate of ours here at CHGO Bears. But, watching him run the DB over into the end zone for the touchdown, I turned to my wife in the stands. I said, he is the leader of the Chicago Bears. He doesn't miss a game. He doesn't miss practice, carries himself the right way. He's been through the mud, some bad years here in Chicago. Yeah, is that what you're seeing here with Cole Kmet? Because I just feel like he's emerging not only as a top tight end in this league, but the top leader on this Chicago Bears team as well.
I don't think there's any question about it. The fact that he's been through different coaches and offensive coordinators and, the whole thing, GMs, he's seen it all. So, but he's a pillar. You want to build your franchise around certain people and how they conduct themselves, how they perform. Like, he's that guy. And, it was a good draft pick. Wasn't always used properly, but we're seeing even last year. He had a good season last year, but he has a chance. He has a chance to be a Pro Bowl type tight end. He just does. So I'm happy for him. because you never heard a complaint come out of his mouth. I mean, I'm not listening to him every day like you guys are, but you'd want to be a teammate of Cole Kmet.
Love Cole to the end of the earth. Fantastic. But there's this guy, Caleb, who's the quarterback, Baldy, who might be pretty important to the Bears' success going forward here. Hey, what do you liking most about what you're seeing from Caleb the last couple of weeks?
Well, I think he's been very humble. They won 3 in a row, but he's been very humble. You like to see that. He knows he hasn't done anything in his business yet. So, he's not full of himself. I don't believe he is. I know he wants to get better. I know he's in touch with his quarterback coach after every game, just kind of picking himself apart. I think he's probably his harshest critic. But I think you're seeing just the beginning of what I think can be, a really good career. We've seen some fantastic splash plays, but now we're seeing some consistent play. And you just want to see it. A lot of teams struggle coming out of this bye, time off, lose the rhythm, won 3 in a row, had a long trip to London. You want to be able to see him come out and execute, from the jump here on Sunday against Washington, who has a very good defensive front. I think there's some real questions on the back end of their defense. Their pass rush has gotten better. They've got some talented players over there. But I want to see him go out there on the road after a week off, play really good football. And that's what I just continue to improve. And we've seen that 3 weeks in a row, 4 weeks in a row right now in small increments. But we're starting to see the guy, I think, that, earned that right to be the number 1 pick in this draft.
Hit the like button for Baldy, hit the like button for Caleb, hit the like button for Cole.
Yeah, and Baldy, just a couple more for you. And kind of going along with what you're just saying. That's why I think this is a pretty important game for the Bears. I mean, you sort of arrived in London, but now you have a bye, and this is a winnable game. I mean, but I also think it's going to be a good game. I think it's a good matchup for a lot of different reasons, but it is winnable. And if you had to ask me right now which unit you trust more, the Bears defense or the Commanders defense, I'd pick the Bears defense. So I feel like that's an edge that they have in this football game, but you got to go out and do it. How do you look at the Bears right now in terms of a true threat in the NFC? Because I feel like this is a game where if they come out and they execute and they put together 4 quarters, they're going to start to be taken more seriously in the NFC.
Well, they're now entering really the meat of the schedule. So, I think one guy I think that you're going to see really pick up the pace here, is Keenan Allen. He's going to see Mike Sanristel this week. He's the rookie out of Michigan. He's their slot corner. I just feel like if Keenan Allen's matched up with this guy, there's no way he's not going to win and win quickly. There's just no way. And, he's been banged up, hadn't done a whole lot yet, but I think that's a guy that I think that they can feed. And you can get first downs. You can move the sticks. That's just one guy. But this is the meat of the schedule right now. It's wide open. Detroit lost Aiden Hutchinson. They're not going to be the same defense without him. Jacksonville goes up to Green Bay this weekend. Look, Jacksonville's got a terrible record. But if you look at them right now, Brian Thomas is the best rookie receiver in this league. It's not even close. He's difficult to guard. And now Evan Ingram is back, and Christian Kirk has his role, and Tank Bigsby's the starting running back. They look like a different offense to me right now. And Trevor's playing a lot better. If they go up and they beat, Houston could have easily beaten Green Bay last week. They let it slip away. So these games are down to the final drive. They're fourth quarter games. How you play in the fourth quarter right now, if you can make that play, not make the play, it's coming down to a couple plays in the fourth quarter. I expect it to be like that in Washington on Sunday. So, we might not know the finality of this game until, 6:30, 6:45 on Sunday. Can you make the play at the end of the game, offensively or defensively, to win these games?
Hey, real quick, Baldy, does Montez Sweat look healthy to you? I don't know how much you've keyed in on him, but if you have, do you have an opinion on that?
I haven't noticed anything that says he isn't, but I would go back and rewatch the end of his last game in London there to see.
I'm just saying.
We haven't heard anything major. He did have a toe earlier this year, and
his production's been down. That's why I'm bringing it up.
Well, Javon Dexter keeps beating him to the quarterback, right? So, I guess my final thought, just because I was fascinated by your highlight of Kingsbury's 8 different runs with 8 different looks and how they'd run counter, but then run away from the counter. So from a defensive perspective, because I just think this is the key to the game, is how they handle these run looks. How do you not fall into those traps of following the counter when it's going to go to the and just stay home and run what you're running and don't worry about the looks they're giving you?
Well, it's a little bit like, honestly, it's like trying to stop the Naval Academy or Army right now, with triple option type football. And if you get caught up with all the window dressing and the movement, then you will get beat. But their defense is a gap defense. Like, if you get in your right gaps, like, you should be able to stop the counter if it goes strong side or the misdirection counter going to the other side. You should be able, in theory, be able to stop it all, especially if you're walking down your safety and you've got an 8-man front and you can actually fill every gap. Now, you might be one-on-one on the outsides against McLaurin, Dimey Brown, or Luke McCaffrey, whoever, but you got to be able to hold up. But in theory, your defense should be able to handle everything if you're playing it right. Now, if you start chasing ghosts, like the Panthers did in the first play, the quarterback's going to go 46 yards, right out the back door, and nobody's going to be there. So, and that has happened to the Bears. So it's a really question of just being extremely disciplined in your approach right here.
Baldy, enjoy the game on Sunday. We're looking forward to it, and can't wait to talk to you next week after we see how it all goes down.
Yeah, I can't wait either, guys. I can't wait for Sunday. It's going to be special. It's going to be a special afternoon out there. I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Baldy, of course, at Baldy NFL. We love talking to him every single week and on the call for Bears and Commanders on the radio this week. Say prost to bigger and better savings on your next vehicle because Cartoberfest is going on now at Ray Chevrolet. Head in today to shop their huge selection of new Chevy models at new low prices. Right now, take $3,000 up to $12,000 off MSRP on most new Chevy models, or cruise through fall your own way and shop over 125 of their vehicles priced under $20,000. As one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, you'll always be able to shop one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories. Visit our partner this October at their location on Route 12 in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. And if you've heard of Ray Chevrolet, you've heard of Ray's Price Promise. They're guaranteed to make your next vehicle more affordable than ever with no price changing, no add-ons, no hidden fees ever. That means the incredible prices we're talking about now you can expect to see the very same when you shop Ray Chevy in-store or online. Shop Cartoberfest all month long by visiting Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
That's right. And as Hoge mentioned to start the show, now is as good a time as ever to become a diehard here at CHGO Sports. Head to allchgo.com/diehard, and you can see all the different things that you can get when you become a diehard. We're building the biggest and best community of Chicago sports fans, and we want you to be a part of it. So much so that we're giving you a special offer with our lowest rate ever. Become a CHGO Sports diehard today for just $4 a month. Billed annually. That's right. Just $48 a year gets you a free t-shirt, access to our exclusive written content, including Carm's grades, Bears things with Adam Hoge, Nick Moreano putting out those really awesome breakdowns he does every week where he'll have a player describe the play, have the play shown on video, and the player breaking it down firsthand. Really, really great stuff. You have access to our CHGO Sports Discord Lounge where we all hang out and talk sports. This is a limited time offer, so act now. Visit chgo.com/intro to sign up today. Make sure you sign up while you can and get this amazing offer while it's here.
All right, we talked about Flus. We talked about Caleb. We've talked a lot of things on the show today. It is time now to go out to our guy, Nicholas Moreano, who was in the Bears locker room or maybe outside the Bears locker room, depending on what's been going on there today. Some new procedures, huh, Nick? I mean, this is actually we talked about this with Cole Kmet a couple weeks ago in London, what's been going on with the NFLPA. This is the first time the Bears locker room has been open since then because they were in London, then they had the bye week. What was it like today?
Yeah, I think it was actually a pretty smooth process, you guys. And I actually didn't take part of any of the interviews that were outside the locker room because, as Greg was just mentioning, all the diehard stuff, I was working on that. But based off of what people were saying who were there, it seemed like a smooth process. You get some of the bigger scrums and bigger interviews out that way. Everybody, it's a little bit more privacy, I would say, too, for the players and also for the reporters asking the questions. But still, I was able to talk to the players that were comfortable with still being on camera in the locker room. But day one, it seemed like it was a good process.
Nick, you sat down with Zach Pickens, who I thought he was pretty frank watching your interview that, he's got a little bit of a challenger to get back on the field and, not just feeling well, but just the players that are playing well in front of him.
Yeah, he was I think pretty candid with how he kind of responded to kind of getting back because look, this is a defensive line, Mark, that everybody has shown some type of production or flashes at some point in time. So there's a lot of depth on the inside. You have obviously guys on the outside that are filling in. So for Zach Pickens, obviously he had some pretty big goals going into the season, but now he has to work his way. And he said today's practice was really important for him to kind of get him on the right footing to not only play on Sunday against the Commanders, but to, just get back in the rotation. That needs to be earned. It's not just given. And we know how Matt Eberflus really prioritizes players that can practice.
Nick, I'm waiting with bated breath for Rome Odunze to break out here. I feel like, and I know you watch a lot of the tape, I feel like it is only a matter of time with what he's showing from a separation ability and his route running ability. Did you have a chance to talk with him here today? Because I know that, it, like I said, it's only a matter of time before this guy really breaks out.
It's funny you mentioned that, Greg, because I was at the gym talking to one of the guys who's a huge Bears fan. I told him Rome Odunze, it's going to be his time to start going off here because he's been open. He runs really good routes. And I was talking to him today about Caleb Williams' ability to throw in the middle of the field. And Caleb, through the first 6 weeks, has been one of the most efficient quarterbacks attacking the middle of the field. And I just asked Rome, what does that do for an offense when you have a quarterback that can do that? And he said it expands everything. It creates a big threat for the defense. And it's just hard to guard and creates explosive plays. And I think we're starting to see a little bit more of those types of plays with, a quarterback that's able to hit those throws. And Shane Waldron, who's dialing them up in the first place. The one thing Rome did say, like going from college to the NFL, he felt like he can go in the middle of the field and be just fine because he wasn't too afraid of those kind of caliber of players. He said in the NFL, it's the real deal. There are some guys that can, knock you out if you're not comfortable or if you're not aware of where you are positioning on the field. So I think that's been a big part of this offense and something that I would like to see continue.
You talked to Javon Dexter. I know Dexter is I think everybody's got to be pretty happy with what Dexter's done so far in year 2 and continues to seemingly get better. What was the conversation like with him?
Yeah, so I asked him before the season even began, you guys. He had a pretty lofty goals that he wanted to set. I think it was 8.5 sacks, All Pro, Pro Bowl. And I asked him, like, you have 4 sacks through the first 6 games. How are you feeling about how proud of you are of like accomplishing that? And he said there's really a lot more for him to do. He's proud of the defensive line and how everyone has grown. And he actually said a cool stat. He said almost everyone on the D line has a sack. So I had to go back and look. And just looking at, if you go, again, just anywhere where you look up sacks, the only defensive lineman that doesn't have a sack on this team right now, you guys, is Daniel Hardy. And that's pretty good when you're thinking about all the different guys that go in waves and rotations for this Bears defensive line. So Javon feels good where he's at. I think there's more that he wants to accomplish. I did get a chance to talk to him about facing the Commanders and whether it's Jayden Daniels, Marcus Mariota. And he said you just got to make sure that everyone's able to cover each other on the defensive line, inside and outside moves. But he also said that's, really for any quarterback. That's not just catered to Mariota or Daniels. That's going to be the standard. So I don't think you're going to see the Bears defensive line do too much differently for this matchup than they would for any other quarterback. But he said collapsing the pocket is going to be key and just got to be consistent in the rush lane to be successful against Commanders offense.
Flip it over to the offense, Nick. I hear you talk with Tevin. How's my guy 76 feeling? How's he looking as far as the mental side when does he have the smile on his face, and what's he thinking about the Bears offense right now?
Yeah, I think Tevin was good that I didn't interrupt him eating his lunch, and I kind of waited for him to finish his bowl that he had there, and then I started asking him some questions. But I wanted to ask him how he feels about the offense and what they've been doing recently. And the word that he brought up was compatibility with each other. And he knows that obviously the units started off slow, but gaining more continuity and starting to become a whole offense, he said, instead of what was happening earlier seasons really helped. And, Eberflus said it would be the same lineup that we saw in Jackson or against Jacksonville 2 weeks ago. So keeping that continuity, compatibility has been big for the offensive line. And then I asked him about facing this Commanders defense, because just watching a few games from them, you guys, like, they have a bunch of pass rushers that will get after the quarterback. And Tevin thought the same exact thing. He also said they hustle to the ball. They're always trying to punch the ball out. They go from hash to hash. And he said it's going to be a game about who will finish longer this week as to who's going to win this game. So it's a tough test for, this Bears offensive line. It does help that they don't have to face Jonathan Allen, who's out for the season, but still a lot of capable playmakers on that Commanders defense.
Nick, I know you saw something very cool today at Halas Hall that you want to share with us. And I actually teased this earlier on in the show before I knew you were going to bring it up here. So, because I saw it on Twitter, take us through what was going on with Kyler Gordon.
Yeah, so I mean, guys, this immediately caught my eye because I thought it wasn't real at first, but if you're watching here on YouTube, that's Kyler Gordon's actual leg. And his other leg is also in a sleeve, and you can see that that's Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3 when he's in the black suit there. And he said it took 2 sessions, 15 hours. And guys, to be completely honest, like, it's badass. Would I have gotten that as a younger Nick? Probably on my arm somewhere, but obviously that probably cost thousands of dollars, but it looked really cool. And if you're Kyler Gordon, he likes to wear the compression sleeves and obviously have the long socks. You got to switch it up. I think you got to show off that tattoo on game day, but it was really impressive. And hopefully Kyler Gordon's trending in the right direction. Matt Eberflus said day to day. So hopefully we get to see Kyler Gordon and his new sleeve tattoos.
He is all in with this Spider-Man routine.
Is it bad that the first thing I thought of is how is getting a 15-hour tattoo on your leg going to affect your hamstring injury?
That's true.
Is it like acupuncture? I saw somebody in the comments of that. Like,
do we know it's that? Do we know it's that leg?
Bearing the lead here too. That
it's both legs.
Young Nick would have done that tat.
Honestly, okay. Here's the thing. I am deathly afraid of needles and blood, but yet I have 3 tattoos. I don't know how I got the one on my arm. That one almost killed me, but yeah, that I probably wouldn't have been able to do that. That sounds excruciatingly painful if you get near the bone. Like, that's for things just not good. Not good.
Our guy Pat Norton, who's also at Halas right now, says clear compression sleeves, just saran wrap the crap out of it. That'd be a new look.
Yeah, I'm.
Carm's disgusted.
I'm not.
You're allowed to have your opinion.
I'm not a big tat guy.
Carm has a picture of Tyson Bagent tatted on his ass cheek.
Tyson Bagent was called a great athlete today by Matt Eberflus, which was the highlight of today's press conference.
He calls it secret Bagent ass.
I'm surprised you didn't lead with that.
I'll be here all week.
You need to retire and or be fired. One of the two.
It's fun. Hey, Mark, real quick. So when Matt Eberflus made that comment about Tyson Bagent, in my notes, I just put Bagent equals Daniels, and that's all. That's how I left it. So
that's exactly right.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know why anybody actually was surprised by that comment. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up because we all knew that beforehand. But I did enjoy Flus saying that.
Well, it is the most under. I mean, I think if they beat the Commanders, Bagent should get a game ball for scout team quarterback.
Do people not realize that their lives are going to change from when they're 20 and 30 and 40 to 60 and 70 and 80 if they're fortunate enough? And, what you think is cool at 20 might not be what you think is cool at 80. Is he really going to want to have a Spider-Man thing on his leg when he's 80 years old walking around? Can you imagine that?
Care at 80?
Yeah.
That's a cool 80-year-old. Like, if you see that 80-year-old man on the street with a Spider-Man tattoo, I mean, my first reaction was like, that dude not only was cool, he's still cool at 80. And I completely get it. No, Mark, you need to have that perspective. Obviously, when you get these, they're permanent.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, you were at some. This is a terrible road for me to go down, but I'm going down there anyway.
Don't do it.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, you're on vacation and you're sitting out at the old hot tub, and the 80-year-old comes in with some weathered, weird Flintstone tattoo on. You want that guy in your hot tub with you, or are you instantly getting out? Because I'm instantly getting out. Let's go have another drink. Whoever I'm with, see you later. Not hanging out in the hot tub with you and your Flintstone.
Why is it got to be the Flintstones? Like, out of all the things that you could have get tattooed, the Flintstones?
Why'd you go Flintstone?
Okay, fine.
Yeah,
Mr. Magoo. I'm trying to, like, make an 80-year-old today of, like, what was cool then.
You're just being your age.
The Jetsons.
The Jetsons were cool back then. Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying?
Spider-Man's cool forever.
Okay. Nick, phenomenal job out there. And you'll be back out there tomorrow. You got anything else?
This is a
just real quick, Greg was teasing all the diehard stuff. I talked to a lot of Bears players, kind of recapping what happened in London, going through some plays. So it's going to be out for everybody who becomes a diehard. It's exclusive for the diehards. So if you haven't signed up already, this is a really good chance for you to take advantage of that deal, see the players' perspectives on some of these plays that happened and why they were successful. And that's going to be going throughout the entire season. So take advantage. If you're not a diehard, become a diehard and join this great community.
What's that been like for you, Nick, doing that? I really have, you don't see too much of that week-to-week coverage, and I think it's a really fascinating concept. So, like, what's it been like watching the players kind of react to, you walking it through and them explaining it to you?
Yeah, I think the players that I've talked to are all for it. I think they love seeing the tape there and then kind of describing what's going on without giving away too much, but just kind of providing some perspective on it. I always like to get into every interview. It's like, are you a Samsung or Apple guy? And then, I tell them well, this is what you can get when you have a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra. You can do the little feature there and get all that stuff. So that kind of gets us into the interview process. But I think players are really for it. And then again, I think it just shows that hey, look at these highlight plays I've created, and they can just take me through it. There's a cool one too today. I was talking to Jayden Daniels, and he's like, the guy you need to talk to is Andrew Billings. And then he grabs Andrew Billings. So I'm kind of doing a Jayden Daniels, Andrew Billings one. And again, you can see that if you become a diehard.
That's cool.
$4 a month right now. Get it. allchgo.com/intro.
Maybe I'll get a diehard tat.
We're going to get a tattoo that says,
I'll go diehard tat.
Carm,
let's hear this.
Smells bad.
Oh, it's got some people have better together.
Bye, Nick.
And then they get divorced.
Bye, guys.
See you, Nick.
You guys should get matching.
Nick will probably get couples coverage. They'll cancel the pod in 5 weeks. You'll probably do a brags in the stands. Next thing you know, you'll retitle it "Loser in the Library."
Loser in the library. I know one thing about Greg. He's never been in a library before.
Never. Only by accident.
Yeah. All right. We got to get supers and get out of here. By the way, Pat Norton's been going in on you on the comments.
Yeah, I don't know who Pat Norton thinks he is.
He's our guy.
He's really out of. I mean, it's unbelievable how many people
Pat Norton has to edit you on Sundays, so he can say anything he wants.
It's unbelievable how many people here that I work with feel just free reign, like the Pizzatola himself.
Pizzatola's going to work here soon too.
He probably will.
Yeah.
Let's hire Pizzatola.
Another thing too that we haven't brought up here on the show, and we probably should have.
We have to be out in 90 seconds.
Is this Sunday we are going to be at Almost Home in Wrigleyville, doing live pre and post game show, watch party.
We talked about that at the start of the show.
Yeah. So we got to make sure we let everybody know. Come on out. I think tickets are only $10, and you get a drink with that ticket. You get to hang out.
We're watching the game at Almost Home. Come on out. We're making it basically free for you. It's $10. We're going to have an unbelievable time. Bears Commanders. We're doing the pregame. We're doing the postgame. We're a huge game. Almost Home. Almost there. Please come.
Can't wait. Wear a costume.
Are we doing the costume? Is that confirmed?
We can.
Or is that a just thing that was mentioned?
We can. I think
we'll decide on Saturday night at midnight.
I'm going to wear a costume.
I'm wearing a costume. I know exactly what I'm wearing.
Remember we did that last year? Even Cole dressed up as Carm. That was fun.
I'm going to dress up like
Supers.
Yeah. Real fast, our supers. Chubbs, 82, $2. Chubby Chubb. Commanders have no chance. They stink. Thank you, Chubbs. Nobody has a better Chubb than you. Chubbs, 82. It's a slam dunk. When no matter who plays, their team doesn't have an advantage in any area of the field. Oh, you're up.
No,
Give yourself, Chubbs, we love you. You're his best friend. Talk to him. Talk to Tex got me anyway. I'm not worried we win. Thank you, Chubbs, 82.
All right, is there a normal one I can do? Jason McKenna, $2, 3-course meals, sunny beside Blue Chew, Charlie's Bacon.
Mm-hmm.
My man.
Sounds like a nice little Saturday. Armando, $4.99. Are the Commanders trying to pull a reverse McCaffrey and 49ers with Daniels? I'm not sure what that means.
He means the 49ers said that McCaffrey was fine at the start of the season. He was going to play, and then he didn't, and he still hasn't. So are they going to do the opposite of that?
Could be a reverse McCaffrey.
McCaffrey. Another one from Armando, $4.99. Did Carm get anything last night with his outfits and Blue Chews? Yeah, how was the visit with Pam?
I had a great night last night. Thank you, Armando.
Yes. Visitola, $2. Thanks to Hoge and Braggs for everything they do.
You're welcome.
You're welcome, Pizzatola.
Sorry about Carm.
Pizzatola, I'm getting a tattoo. I'm going P-I-Z-Z on one ass. And Tola on the other cheek.
I got it. Yeah. The eye speaks for itself.
Maybe I'll go right down the middle of the old eye. Thank you, my guy.
All right. What a show that ended up being. I mean, that one had everything. It had really great information, an outstanding national analyst.
We'd like to personally apologize for this show.
I mean, there is definitely no show out there that's hitting every different angle that this one does on a daily basis. Please come out to Almost Home on Sunday. It's going to be a great time. You can all talk to Carm as much as you want about Blue Chew or anything. He's going to do that.
I can't wait. I'll show you my Pizzatola.
Okay. And become a diehard. And we promise if you become a diehard, that won't happen.
We do.
Yeah.
We do. This is a classy show.
We're out of here. CHGO Blackhawks coming up next. Can't wait to hear from those guys on what happened against the Canucks last night. And if referees know how to count how many players are on the ice.
Let's go Bulls.
Bulls.
Let's go Bulls.
Let's go Bulls.
Pre and post tonight.
Let's go Peck. Let's go Big Dave. Let's go Will Purdue. Let's go Goat.
And we are out of here. We'll be back tomorrow at
Blackhawks up next, right?
I just said that. I
that.
literally just spent.
We can say it again.
You interrupted my Blackhawks promo to say "Let's go Bulls." That's what happened.
What were you thinking about?
What is happening in that head sometimes?
What were you thinking
I
about?
haven't been feeling good for last week.
Milky Way?
I do like Milky Ways.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll talk to you guys tomorrow at 1 o'clock. See you then.
We all silly like the